Unanswered questions about Michael motherfucking Myers.
Number 1.
What happened to Megan? And
Number 2.
what happened to the other 3 missing victims? And
Number 3.
is there a copycat killer that isn't Corey? We have finally crawled to the end of the Blumhouse trilogy, and it closes with what's probably the most divisive film in the entire franchise. Some people swear by it, some people spit on it. Me, I can't say I love it, because I don't, but I also can't say I hate it, because I don't. It's a weird middle ground of a love-hate relationship. I like this as a Halloween movie, but I flat out despise this as a Michael Myers movie. The first time I watched this, I was speechless for all the wrong reasons. It felt like I had just been kicked in the balls. And for the record, I don't like being kicked in the balls. Call me crazy, but I actually enjoyed Corey Cunningham and his weird, bizarre relationship with Allison. I think it's the best thing this film has going. Because truthfully, I've been burned out on the whole Michael versus Laurie thing for a long time. For years. But when they told us this was the end of the big 40-year showdown, I got excited again. And when I watched the movie, nothing. But what pisses me off still is just a straight up false advertisement marketing. They literally shot fake trailer footage to trick us into thinking that we was going to get that big showdown between Michael and Laurie. But yet, we got another swift kick in the balls. Thanks, movie. But fine, let's get past that. Let's move past the marketing betrayal, the broken promises, and dig into some of these overlooked details. The stuff hiding in the fine print. One thing this film never addresses is the 4-year gap that Michael's been MIA. No breadcrumb trail, no clues, or at least, that's what it seems. Do you remember that creepy homeless guy? When he states that Michael drags people into the sewer every now and then?
You see that man in there? You take people in there now and then.
Now this isn't groundbreaking, the film tells you this, but this does set the stage for the bigger discoveries. Because here's the thing, Haddonfield hasn't exactly been quiet these 4 years. We've had suicides, such as Oscar's mom, assuming it was suicide, and if not, well, that makes things a little bit more interesting, don't they? We've had shootings, like the couple in the car.
Michael doesn't use guns.
And we've got missing persons, like Megan, whose face shows up on that billboard in the scene with Corey on the bridge. But she's not the only one. Later in the movie, we hear about 3 more people missing in Haddonfield. This takes place during a radio call to Willie the Kid.
There are 3 missing people right now in Haddonfield?
Now, Michael could be linked to some of these bodies, for sure, but that kind of contradicts the whole movie's plot. Michael hasn't killed in years, he's weak, and he's basically crawled in that sewer to die. Despite this trilogy waffling back and forth between is Michael supernatural or not, Halloween Ends kind of solidifies this. Because when Michael kills the cop in the sewer, Doug, the same one that was harassing Allison, Michael is literally siphoning strength from it. He goes from a hunched over old man who can't walk to standing up straight again. Finally standing tall. Maybe not in a literal sense, but you get the point. So if that's the case, how could he be responsible for the 4 years worth of deaths and missing persons and still be so weak and frail? Unless he was just killing enough to stay alive, which also contradicts my thought because I truly believe he crawled inside that sewer just to die. He was done. But if we look at the timeline here, Megan disappeared last year and the 3 others are missing right now. If Michael was responsible, wouldn't we see him rejuvenate every time? Just like we saw with Doug? Seems real inconsistent. Which begs the real question. Who else is doing all the killing in Haddonfield? Who's carrying on Michael's torch while he's rotting away in the sewer? Who pulled the trigger on them shootings? Who left those bodies hanging if it wasn't their own will? Who's responsible for the 3 other missing people in Haddonfield? Because if it wasn't Michael, then somebody else is trying to fill them shoes. But the question is, who could it be? Any ideas? Let me know down in the comments. Did fate bring Allison and Corey together? And is their fate the final key of Michael and Laurie's fate? This works heavily into my number 9 and 10. So keep this in mind when you make it towards the end of the video. This has always been a hot take, but I think it works in both scenarios here. I've said it 1,000 times and I'll say it again. I believe that Michael never cared about Laurie. It was only fate that brought them together. And I think Corey and Allison was part of that fate. I've touched on this a few times, but I'll summarize this very quickly. After the events of 1978, Michael gets locked up for 40 years, and never once does he decide to go after Laurie. It was Dr. Sartain who made that happen. Even after being face to face with her, Michael just walked away. And Halloween Kills, Laurie is so sure Michael's going to come after her in the hospital. but he never does. He goes home instead. And this film, Halloween Ends, is no exception, and the biggest piece of evidence yet. I'll show this scene right here, because to me, this solidifies it all. So Michael follows Corey to Laurie's house, sees Laurie outside in her yard, so now he knows where she lives, but yet he just walks away, while Corey got some from Allison. So why would Michael see Laurie after 4 years and just walk away? Because Michael has no interest. He never has. But this is where Corey and Allison come into play. What's interesting is that Allison says it herself. When she first heard about what happened to Corey, she felt like she already knew him, like she was looking for him.
I heard what happened. I know it sounds crazy, but people would talk about it. It was like I knew you. Like I was looking for you. And then she brought you to me.
And Laurie Strode, of all people, is the one to introduce them. You can call that coincidence if you want. I call it fate pulling strings. But once that spark lit, Corey latched onto her like a drowning man. He becomes obsessed with her. He flat out says multiple times,
"If I can't have her, no one will. If I can't have her."
Look at who Corey kills first. It's not random. It's not because suddenly he's trying to become Michael. His first victims are people who's wronged Allison. Doug, the cop who keeps harassing her. The doctor who screwed her out of the promotion because he's banging Deb, the nurse, and Deb got the job instead. That's Corey playing executioner for Allison's wounds. The night he and Allison decide to leave Haddonfield, that's when his kills become personal. Suddenly, it's everybody who wronged him. The marching band kids who bullied him, his mom who treated him like garbage, Willie the kid who humiliated him in front of Allison, and then finally Laurie herself, even though he never got to. But because Corey knew that she was on to him, and she could see that same darkness that she saw in Michael.
I see the same thing in him that I saw in Michael.
It's the same cycle repeating. Laurie and Michael, Allison and Corey. Two connections forged in blood, obsession, and tragedy. It's fate handpicking its players, but it's just on the opposite side of the coin. Back at that scene when Michael followed Corey to Laurie's house, again, Michael doesn't attack, he just walks away. But fate brings them back together anyway. Just think about it. Corey and Allison was going to leave Haddonfield for good. Burn it down to the ground, never look back.
You told me that you want to burn it down.
Just burn it all to the ground.
Light the match.
Michael's plan was to die in that sewer peacefully. Until Corey goes steals his mask and tries to take on the legacy. And Michael follows him right back to Laurie's house just like before. It's fate closing the loop. Laurie versus Michael one last time, where Michael meets his demise. So when Allison said she felt like she had been looking for him all them years, she felt like she already knew him. That growing, manipulative, but love-driven obsession of the relationship she had with Corey. Was it the final key that brought Laurie and Michael back together one last time? I think yes, but let me know what you think. This will continue in my number 9 and 10, because I have 2 more questions and 2 more layers to add to this. But for now, let's move on.
Number 6.
Rapid fire round. If this door was wide open, and Jeremy was upstairs, and then Corey went upstairs, who closed the front door? It's even locked.
No.
I cannot express to you how weird this scene is. No wonder Corey has all them damn problems. Damn, wrong movie. Who is breathing at the end of this film? So at the very end of this film, we see Michael's mask sitting on Laurie's table. Michael's dead. His body's been shredded up like ground beef. Case closed, right? And yet, you still hear somebody breathing in the traditional Halloween fashion. Now, I play this clip here, and I've watched this movie more times than I care to admit. Hell, I even watched this movie for 24 hours straight. That video is somewhere on the channel, you can look for it. But I never caught this until somebody pointed it out to me. Listen closely. Did you hear it? If not, I'll isolate the audio for you. Here's the cleaned up audio. This is from the film. It has not been altered. Listen. Yeah, that's breathing. Make no mistake about it. And it's not Michael's. And look, anytime we hear breathing at the end of the Halloween film, that's never a good thing. So what is this supposed to mean? Is this a wink that the story isn't truly over? A nod that Michael was never a man, but an evil infection that passes on? Is this teasing a new shape, a new evil, just waiting to rise somewhere? I know this trilogy is over, and honestly that's for the better. But there's hints that the horror in Haddonfield may not be over. Because if this breathing means what it always means in a Halloween movie, then Halloween didn't end at all. And the fact that you hear this as soon as the mask comes on screen, I can put 1 and 1 together. It's 3. So what crazy possibilities could this be? Corey still alive? Doubt it. Michael gave him that.
Fatality!
Laurie turning evil at some point? Allison having Corey's baby somewhere along the road? Evil reincarnate? Literally? It all sounds utterly bizarre. But if you're going to throw in subtle hints like this, that the story isn't over, where could you possibly go from here? So my question remains, who's breathing while we stare at Michael's mask at the end of this film? Let me know your thoughts.
Number 8.
What's the story behind this homeless man and Michael? So when Halloween ends, Michael's living in a sewer, doing his Pennywise shit. But right outside his tunnel is this homeless man. Basically Michael's next door neighbor, in a literal sense. And for some reason, Michael never lays a hand on him. Why? The easy assumption is that this dude just isn't loitering. He's helping Michael. Maybe feeding him scraps. Hell, he might be helping Michael lure people into the sewer. Maybe he's responsible for some of these missing people. You never know. Or maybe he's just protecting this legend because he believed in it. He knew who Michael was.
You go back in there and you get me that mask. I'm Michael Myers.
So if we break this down, after them bullies throw Corey off the bridge, we actually see a blink and you miss it moment of Michael walking right past that homeless guy to drag Corey into the sewer. He walks right past that homeless man. The homeless man watches the whole thing and he doesn't even flinch. And we know this isn't the first time this has happened. The homeless guy says this. When Corey emerges from the sewer after his interaction with Michael, the homeless man loses it. He tells Corey straight up,
You see that man in there? You take people in there now and then. Why'd he let you live?
But then things get even weirder. He pushes Corey to go back inside and get Michael's mask. Because he says he's Michael Myers. Like he's guarding the legacy. Or he wants to become the new Michael Myers. This isn't just some random homeless man drunk under the bridge. This dude's basically Michael's fucking hot man. And then the guy pulls the knife. The same exact knife that Corey pulled on them teenagers. The homeless man then tries to kill Corey, but Corey kills him in self-defense. So what was this old man's actual role? Was he Michael's watcher? His feeder? His servant? Was he just another broken soul in Haddonfield who saw Michael as a god living in the dark? Or was he trying to become the new Michael Myers himself? We'll never know, but I can't shake this feeling that this dude was more than just filler. Because Michael doesn't let you live for free without reason. But again, what is that reason?
Number 9.
And
Number 10.
what does it all mean? I'm going to combine these two. This is the long one, so buckle up. But after numerous rewatches of this, I think I finally solidified my answer. At least in my own headcanon. To start it out, this isn't a Michael Myers movie. This is a Halloween movie. And there's a clear difference. Ends makes that clear. Michael isn't the only shape. The shape is an infection. A sickness that seeps into people and warps them. It changes them. This is what Laurie meant when she says,
You know, there are two kinds of evil. There's the evil that exists as an external force that threatens the well-being of the tribe. The other kind of evil lives inside us, like a sickness or an infection. It's more dangerous because we may not know we're infected.
Michael sees Corey in that sewer, looks him dead in the eye. And in that moment, I think he recognizes that emptiness, that evil dark abyss of nothing that's been staring back at him for decades. I don't think Michael passed the torch or passed something supernatural on to Corey. Corey was already infected by Haddonfield. It was already there. It's just like Corey's mom said. The town needed a new boogeyman, so they created one. The constant bullying. People whooping his ass. People looking down on him. Corey had enough. And what's interesting is that Michael is watching this transformation every step of the way. So think about it. Going back to the scene of Michael stalking Laurie at her house when he follows Corey. Corey gets him some Michael sees Laurie, but he does nothing. I even believe that Michael could have saw Corey killing that homeless man right outside the sewer. I mean, it did happen right in the entryway. So whatever Michael was thinking, I think that solidified it at least a little bit for him right there. I mean, it's just boom, first kill. I also don't think Corey was copying Michael. He was becoming his own shape, born out of hatred and obsession. And obsession with Corey is the key word. Again, this man becomes obsessed with Allison.
If I can't have her, no one will.
This is the first sign of the infection spreading. Him being so obsessed with Allison allowed him to have that ammunition and motive to kill those people that wronged Allison first, not him. And other people see this change as well. Not only Laurie, but take Jeremy's dad. He saw Corey that day that he killed that homeless man while he was walking home. I'll play that scene right here.
And I pull up next to him, and he looks at me, and it's not him.
And this film thrives on parallels. Let's look at the symbols. Michael's beacon was the Myers house. The only thing Michael ever wanted to do, besides kill people, was sit there and stare out of his sister's window. But the Myers house is now gone, and I think in some strange way, Judith in her room, and that window in particular, was so precious to him because of the inner self-reflection that he does. I go into great detail on this in my 2018 video, so if you haven't seen that, please check it out. I actually think that the absence of the Myers house and him being able to self-reflect in his sister's room greatly contributes to Michael becoming weaker. When all that was destroyed, I think the evil drive inside of Michael was also destroyed. It became dormant, and Michael, in a literal sense, crawled inside a hole to die. He was done. That is, until Corey entered his life, when fate interfered. Corey's beacon is the radio tower. That radio tower has been looming in the background in 2018, Halloween Kills, and now when Halloween Ends, it really takes the spotlight. Here's why. We learn in this film that this radio tower is Corey's saving grace. He would go here, look up at this tower, and self-reflect just like Michael would do in his sister's window.
After the accident, I'd ride my bike over here and I'd sit up on this roof. And I'd look up at that tower. What if I could climb at the top? It was summoning me, like a watchtower, a beacon.
In the same parallel. There's also this scene in the film where Allison and Corey's at the radio tower. She looks at his hand and says infected.
Infected.
I believe this line was more metaphorical than it's supposed to be physical, because at this point, Corey is infected by the evil of becoming the shape. Laurie says the same thing about him being infected later in the film.
The other kind of evil lives inside us, or an infection.
At this point in the film, Corey is becoming void of all emotion. He isn't scared anymore. Even the thought of death doesn't bother him anymore.
What are you trying to kill yourself?
I'm not interested in immortality.
When he falls down, he even gets up like Michael does. And in the end, it's this radio tower that seals Laurie's victory. When Corey sets it on fire, Allison sees that. Take in mind, this point in the film, Corey tried to kill Laurie, didn't succeed. Allison pulled up, he tried to off himself, and now he's blaming it on Laurie. And Allison stormed off. But because she saw this radio tower burning, she realized. And that's what made her stop and go back and save Laurie. Without that tower, Laurie might not have survived, because Michael had her down for the count, until Allison came back to save her. So no, Michael didn't care about Laurie, but fate did. It was fate that used Corey and that tower to bring Laurie and Allison back together one last time to defeat Michael, to end the story of the shape. To put this simply, Halloween 2018 was a Laurie Strode movie. Halloween Kills was a Michael movie. Halloween Ends is the Shapes movie. Because no matter how off-putting this film may be, it was these key factors that brought Michael back to Laurie's house. Because again, he never had any interest in doing so. He was already there once before. He didn't want to kill Laurie. He had the perfect chance to. He just walked away. But all these elements come together. The radio tower, Corey and Allison, Laurie and Michael. I still have a love-hate for this film, but I think I finally understand what the movie was trying to say. It's not a perfect film by any means, but I can at least now sit down and watch this film and understand what the plot is trying to say, and understand where fate has came in, manipulated the elements to bring closure to this 40-year story. Thank you guys so much for taking part of your day to kick it with me, and I appreciate it. Next on the list is going to be Rob Zombie's Halloween, the 2007 remake. That's going to be a lot of fun because I haven't seen that movie in a long time. With that being said, if you have any theories, feel free to drop them down in the Discord. The Discord is absolutely free. It's just a hangout spot. And if you have a theory that I really like and it holds some weight, I will credit you in a video. Also, I have a YouTube membership where you can get early access, exclusive videos, private live streams. I do monthly giveaways. You have custom emojis, loyalty badges. The list goes on and on. Don't feel obligated, but if you want some more material for yourself, feel free to join. With that being said, I'll see you next week. Once again, I love you all. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Adios.